Hey, you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the conversation. These are conversations, not interviews. It's more of an inner, INNER view than an interview. So we're going to talk back and forth. There's going to be a beautiful exchange of energy both ways, and we are going to enjoy ourselves to the most. So come on, let's get to the conversation. Love you. Mwah. One-on-one conversations with the Queen of Shade. These are inner views, not interviews. Conversations worth having. Let's see what your soul looks like, and not just your body. Salutations, Queen of Shade here, just coming to you with another conversation. Speaking to people around the world has truly been an amazing experience. I know I say this every time, but I mean it. I learn so much about beautiful people, and I take away so much more from our conversations than just the art of talking. Having said that, I have someone whom you need to meet, but if you are an avid watcher of these conversations, you know that they've already been here before. Secondly, you should already know this person because you should recognize their pecs. Body parts, you should know by the pecs, okay? But having said this, with this remarkable man, I want to first start off and say, this man, young man, is a business owner. He's an entrepreneur. And I'm very proud of him because he is on the precipice of making his business a $1 million a year business. And also right on the cusp of his business doing about $100,000 a month. The reason why I want to start off by saying this is because I want all of us to respect this man. I know he's beautiful. I know he came with his shirt off. He's given us a good visual. But when this conversation is over, I'm setting up his mentoring program right now, as you can see. When this conversation is over, if you are someone that said, damn, how did he do that? You definitely need to reach out to this person and find out how much he charges for mentoring. He's already so busy, but if the price is right, he may give you pointers. But let me stop rambling. I'm just so proud of this man. And I'm not even, I didn't tell you what the business was because we're going to talk about that. And you're going to gag the way we all gag, or when I gagged when I heard it. But we're going to get into an awesome conversation with this young man right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to reintroduce you for the second time to this remarkable man, Mr. James Patrick. Yay!
I appreciate that. That was actually pretty cool.
Listen, you gotta tell you as we were talking, it's so good to see you, first of all. It's so good to see you. It's so good
Absolutely.
to see you. And I think you're in a little bit of a bulk right now, right?
Yes. I'm
I
trying
think
to
you should keep it.
I'm in the process of seeing let's just see how far hard working these jeans actually go. And so I that's a whole nother story in itself. We can definitely dive into why I'm bulking. But for sure, yeah. Gained 30 pounds in the past since October. So I went from 196 to 226 right now. I'm actually 228, but
Well,
yeah.
you are definitely going to have to tell us how you did it and maintain your definition. Because, most people, when they you see it and it's like, you don't want to go. I'm just saying, okay, I can't say you. I don't want to go near it. Because I'm like, because, okay, because I have this fear. Okay, I have this fear.
I like men that work out. You know, I'm an avid gym goer myself. I've had to take a lot of time off to build this fucking business. And yes, I said fucking is my channel.
I understand.
You know, and it just like literally James, you'll understand this. There were times when like and still I still have 3 a.m. mornings. I don't lay down until 3 a.m. and then I roll out of bed and literally my computer desk is arm's length and I'm making sure, you know, I'm checking and I'm, you know, and even with doing that, I'm still maintaining a huge social media presence on
Mhm.
all platforms. So, you know, it just it's so crazy. So having to stop that, I know what to do when I need to return. But you know, my nephew and my grandmother, they said to me, and I'm just be honest, they were like, well, maybe you should just work out in your room. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I do everything in that room. I am
Mhm.
not. I'm like, I'm going to a gym when it
For
no,
sure.
like I need to change the scenery.
For sure.
So you know, I want to say you look really good, but my
Thank
fear has always been I see guys and this is and there's this obsession and you can talk about this because
you.
we're gonna get into this, but you can talk about this even without revealing the business yet, because they're gonna gag when they hear what it is that you're doing, and they're gonna be like, I can't do that. Like every certified, you know what is gonna be like, what the fuck? But I see people bulk, that men have this obsession with getting bigger, 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 and they keep going. And with me being having a fashion background and modeling, I see them get big and they look good.
Mhm.
And then they keep going and they become this one huge muscle. And
Mhm.
then next thing you know, they're fat.
Yeah, for sure.
They're fat. And I'm like I literally stay away from men like that because I see it constantly be their end game. They don't know how to stop. And I want to ask you, um, is that body dysmorphia?
No, actually, I think it's actually a common misunderstanding of the process. Which by the way, because I actually get it on my page a lot, that it's like to the people who liked me smaller. Hey, I like you smaller. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're getting. I actually had a couple people say, "Hey, you're getting fat," and that is completely cool because depending on when you catch me, I have to eat basically like at least 3,600 calories a day, otherwise I lose weight. And so, the I want to show you something, and again, you may have to edit this out, but I want to actually show you something. This is it's going to take like 2 seconds to pull it up because actually it was showing one of my clients who just didn't get
Take your
it.
time. Take your time.
Yeah.
I don't see why we would have to edit it, only if you didn't want it in.
Oh no, I'm good. I am good with it. Just making sure these are all. What's the third one? There we go. That's the one I was looking for. So, um, it actually is. It takes more patience to do what I'm doing, and that's the challenge. To
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you can actually basically bulk slowly over time. Yeah, it's cool to say I gained 30 pounds, but if you actually do the number of weeks, it's basically I'm gaining somewhere between a half pound and a pound a week.
Oh,
The
good.
body can actually you can really actually maintain, and I actually probably could have done it way faster.
Oh, wow.
But if you do it faster, it's you are accumulating a lot more fat
Mm-hmm.
than, and all that fat you're gonna have to shake off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know what the end state will look like, it's easier to actually stick it through. And I'm saying this just because this is the second time that I've actually bulked, and I'm gonna if I can I share my screen right now?
Yes, yes, please.
All right, bet. So this is actually it says that you gotta change it to multiple people can,
Hold on.
but
Let me get into it.
so this is actually all me, right? And what people don't realize is this is the body. Once I built this, I
Yeah,
was so proud of this that I basically held on to it for like 2.5 years from
I was
working out
proud of it
basically.
too. I you
No,
sent
no,
me
no, for sure.
no,
But
because you sent
working
me the
out
pictures.
basically,
I was proud of it too. Yeah,
no,
but they
it's and
know you.
trust and believe. I got some good. But the point, I'm this once I got built this, I stayed in maintenance mode with 2 to 3 workouts a week,
Hmm.
and mostly just maintaining it with diet.
Okay.
However, to get this is what it looks like before.
Okay.
This is literally right before this.
Wow.
This is this on the way down.
Wow.
And then it's this. And so it's one of those things that it's like the process of bulking, it is going to look ugly at some point, even if you're slow doing it. Like for me, if I were to, because I'm a taller guy, if I were to
Mhm.
max out my frame, I would probably bulk all the way straight through to like 260.
Woo.
And then which again, that's basically imagine me with another basically 30 pounds. And
Mhm.
then at that point, it would be hard. The fat at some point would start to show in certain places that I'm not really gonna be crazy about, right?
Right.
But the amount of muscle that I will have accumulated the next time that I actually get this lean, I'll probably, rather than this being 196,
Yeah.
I'll probably be around like maybe 215, 220. And
Yeah.
again, I will actually have the features that I have now that I don't in this picture, where my arms will actually be bigger, my lats are going to be bigger, and my
Wow.
legs will be significantly larger. Because that's what I'm working on right now is actually, believe it or not, this is I'm going to get back to this, but I just want to even out the spots that I kind of neglected on the way up, where it was like I know I could have done better on my legs. I know I could have got bigger arms. My six pack is basically going to look exactly the same because again, I do a lot less ab stuff than people think.
Yeah.
And so
This is art.
it's
This is art.
it's well, it's a misunderstanding. If you know what the process looks like, then you can actually see, okay, cool, that's what they're doing.
Okay.
And it's like, so because trust me, I have no desire to get fat. However, if you don't go big enough and you're very which this is body dysmorphia. I literally was like, when I crossed 220, I was like, I'm getting fat. And
Oh,
it was hard for me to continue to gain because I was like, I was very concerned with and it's, yes, part of it is because I make content all the time, but another part of it is just I liked that previous version of me. And
yeah.
so I'm like, I'm getting like, and it took me a minute, but it's like, I understand you have to be willing to go through basically stacking the muscle. And to do that, you need to be in a calorie surplus. So it's going to get a little messy. But when you clean it back up, it's going to be worth it.
You know what? You are absolutely right because even in my business, I've had several evolutions. When I first started, I was in my grandmother's church hats. I was working out, so I used to come with no shirt, and I used to come with like chains on, and you could see, everything. And I was very proud of that. Everybody, everywhere I went, they were like, "You're a model. We could tell you're a model. You have a beautiful body, and you're thin, and it's just so right." And over the years, I would move from one, like then I started moving into clothing and women's clothing and wigs and things like that. And I had to slim down. I had to
Mm.
slim down. And what I realize now is that I kind of shot myself in the foot there because
Really?
yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm not gonna say it's body dysmorphia, but coming from a fashion background,
Mhm.
we don't eat a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. If you understand me. And it can get crazy. I never had any eating disorders, but even I'm gonna be honest right now, even right now, yesterday, and my following is gonna crucify me because they're gonna be like, you're crazy. But yesterday I had saltine crackers and a ginger beer. And I know
Yeah.
that's a little crazy, but earlier in the day, I had rotisserie chicken. Like I had like just, and my thing is I did a small piece of rotisserie chicken. I don't I don't really eat a lot. I
Yeah.
don't. Now, mind you, now look at this. 19 years of therapy. We've been talking about it. I'm more so of a snacker. I don't really eat. I'll take and I'll go. And I mean, people are like, they're hearing this. And my thing is, the reason why I'm putting this out there is because I want them to understand for these professions, for any of them, anything that has to do with the aesthetic,
Mm.
it's difficult. So, and this is me. Now, mind you, this is not me in Paris at 22. This is still me having lived that way for so long at 41 now.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, she gets so scared and she gets so nervous. But I am a workaholic. Like I work, and and I'm gonna get into therapy here. My therapist always says to me, she says, "Baby, there's just one thing I wish I could correct about you." And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "You eat food as a reward, not a necessity."
Mm.
And she was right. I will do all my work for the night and then reward myself with food. And that can be a little crazy, but guess what? They can't say I have some kind of mental disorder because I already do. I have bipolar type 1,
Yeah, yeah.
PTSD, and acute anxiety disorder. So they can't listen. They can't,
Well, it's funny you say that. So I got a similar outcome from a different path.
Yeah.
So from my childhood, um, the people who treated me nice were thin. The people that I recognized that were successful were thin, and the people who treated me like crap were overweight and had all these like health problems and stuff like that. So unintentionally, I actually became the type of person to where I just like I never wanted to be fat. Like that is like they're two, everybody's got different things that motivate them. Two things that will motivate me like none other, as corny as it may be, the idea that I'm getting fat and the idea of me having financial troubles again, like being broke. Those
Yeah.
are two things that will fuel me. Like I will, you actually want to see somebody focus. Like that is actually how you get me to move mountains, right? But uh, for me, it was an accidental. I just kind of, especially, and then it's very easy to hide, or for it to be masked when you're in, especially like business or something like that, because of the whole workaholic thing. I would forget to eat and I really didn't care.
Me
Like
too.
I was just because again,
I
it's like as
care.
long as I'm not getting fat, like I don't really care. And
I
so
didn't care.
that's exactly why when I got out of the military, I was 211 actually, because I'd actually done the work to build the body that initially dove into trying to figure out how to make money and kind of just woke up one day and was like, I'm 153, like I'm a skeleton. And I'm like, I mean, like, and it was cool because again, like that was actually the first time in my life that I found myself beginning to hide behind clothes, where I was like, I'm more comfortable, like just kind of being me, but it's like I don't like the way I look anymore. And so, and it was just because of that workaholic tendency combined with the fact that for me, I didn't realize it until like kind of after, I guess like hindsight. I don't have a therapist. I just have some friends that I actually talk to. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They said someone
At
told me
that
like
level,
you
at the
don't
level
need.
you are, when you do
Well,
a
somebody
million
told me
dollars a
like
year,
this is
yeah.
just me. Like I don't even know if this is real or not, but somebody told me less people would need therapists and counselors if you actually had a good person in your life to talk to that would listen. And so for me, it was just one of those things that it was like, I have one person like that. But it was like in one of those conversations, I realized I was like, I think I have an aversion towards getting fat. Like for real though. And
Yeah.
so outside of just like people's perception, it's a deep rooted like
You
but I
know,
just think it's interesting. Yeah.
what's so crazy? You and I both, though we are at different ends of the spectrum, we have the same fears. I can't be broken. I can't be. And get this. It's not, and get this. And I tell people all the time, you don't understand. I don't discriminate. I don't bully people
Oh
that are
yeah.
overweight, like people that are
In
overweight
your life.
because I do like I truly believe we are all different. And one thing about African Americans is, we grew up with big mamas, our mom,
Yep.
our grandmamas, our aunties.
Yep.
So you'd be surprised how many muscle men or thin men go get them a big woman. Like you'd be surprised because we're
Sure.
conditioned. We see it. It's our mothers, it's our grandmothers, it's our aunties. But you are the like I'm going to reveal something. When I first went into the hospital in college in 2001, they called my family and they were like, he looks like a skeleton.
Mhm.
He won't eat. And I remember when my uncle came, and this is like, me and my uncle don't get along. So this was like the only one time that he was able to reach me and we had that kind of like connective moment. But he he walks over to me and they sit me down at the table at this beautiful hospital because it was way out in Western Pennsylvania, and it was called it was Oil City. I forget what the hospital was called, but the place was Oil City, Pennsylvania. And he looked at me, and I was thinner than models should be.
Mhm.
And he said, "You always carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you never worry about yourself." And he said, "Please, this one time, I need you to save your own life." It was bad. And my thing is, if we go back even further, when I was younger, I'm talking 7, 8, no, 6 or 7, I almost died of malnutrition. Look at how these things follow us, because My mother was on drugs. Father was absentee. Grandmama lived not too far away. I knew her where she was if I needed to get to her. She was the one that usually brought the food over because my mama would be laying in the bed with her men after she had their drugs, or they'd be sitting at the table doing drugs. And I was a little guy, but I was in school. And what I would do is I would steal extra lunches. And
Mhm.
even my lunch, I would kind of put it in my school bag and I would take it home to my siblings. And I had three siblings. And I remember, now I've talked about this in therapy, so it's not detrimental, but it's heavy. But I would feed them and I wouldn't consume any of the food that I had to give to them because I didn't want to take out of their mouths.
Mhm.
So I got really, really sick and I almost died. My grandmother had to step in. That's when my grandmother stepped in and said, "What the hell is going on? I'm taking him." She took me from the house. Next thing you
Yeah.
know, she's teaching me how, and even then, she was teaching me how to eat chicken and fried fish and all these things. And I can't say because of that experience, I can't say at any point in my life have I ever liked food. And what happened in college was, and this is the crazy thing, that there's a reason, always putting, well, like I said, the weight of the world on the shoulders. I know this got heavy. We're going to get light again. But this is, I want to say this because there are a lot of, especially gay men in this boat. So what happened was I turn around and, oh, man, this thing just carried. But at college, that was me coming into the realization that I was gay.
Mhm.
And I had been in church since I was about 10. So 10 to about 18, going on 19, I was in church. Church was mean to me. All the men bullied me because of my voice and my feminine manner and my bird like, now I know, my model body. They bullied me. I was tall and lanky and gracefully and moved like a deer, and they hated it. But they didn't hate it. We'll get into that. That's a story for another time. But I at college, I only knew, and I was an avid Christian. You got to understand this. I was an avid Christian before I like left the church. So my problem was, if my Bible said that I was to do this because of my love, natural love for God and the spirit world and divinity, I was going to do it. So I came across this passage and they always preached it. And for a while, it didn't quite bother me. But as I got older and started to fiend for dick, I'll just say it like that because that's what it was, in order to combat it. Because I would be like, I remember eighth grade was a murderous year for me. I was like, I remember I went to a suburban school in Upper Moreland. And this was Upper Moreland Middle School, suburban school. So there were all different kinds of people there. So, it was like I had Greeks, I had Italians, I had Spanish, I had Black, I had white. I remember this guy, he walked into my eighth grade class from Greece. That was it. I took one look at him. That was it. It's so funny how we're having this conversation. I'm gonna just let it go the way that it's going. But literally, I had to be excused that year so much because of the erections. I couldn't, I was so embarrassed. And being a Christian, like they don't know. And see, this is the thing, Christians, the reason why I'm saying this, Christians don't know what they do to us. They don't know the pain that they cause. So I'm going to the bathroom praying and crying and hysterical, like, and this is before I knew I was bipolar. So this is triggers. These are triggers. So I'm like in there, like, God, please make it go down. Now, mind you, it wasn't just happening at school. I had a lot of beautiful Black men in my church. So I'm running to the bathroom all the time, trying to make these erections go down. Horrible. But in college, I said, God, you said these things come out by fasting and praying. So I am not going to eat anything until you make me straight. And I went on a fast. And that fast, I would drink tea. I would have like a bagel every like second week. And it was bad. I should be dead.
That's
But
intense.
but that lasted 5 months.
That's intense.
Hmm. Well, you know what's so funny? It's not funny, but a quality of mine. When I get something in my head, I go after it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just how driven I am. Even with the Queen of Shade, it's just how driven I am. When I fix it in my mind and I want it, I'm prepared to do the impossible to get it. The impossible. So I remember my advisors at school, the choir got worried. Everybody was like, oh my God, have you seen him? Have you seen him? Look at him. My advisor came to me and she's like, oh my God, you got to put the Bible down. It's killing you. She said that to me. She said, it's killing you. So then when I got to Oil City, that moment with my uncle, I ate vanilla ice cream. He handed me like a cup of vanilla ice cream. And it was so sad because as I ate the vanilla ice cream, I cried. I cried. And that's why they said I was on suicide watch, though I wasn't trying to kill myself. Like I just was trying to get done what I needed to get done. And it's kind of crazy that this conversation went that way, but I wanted to highlight that because a lot of us gay men, we don't like what we see in the mirror. We don't like it. And the reason why I'm setting it up this way is because that's where your business comes in. It's more than just what you do. You give hope to the queer community because we were already bullied. We were already told we weren't enough. We were already physically abused for being too thin or being, oh, you soaking wet, you only this, you got to man up. And, I remember those outside, you got to fight this one, you got to fight that one. Show me you're tough. The men in my life, you got to be tough. You can't be a chicken. You can't be this. Don't be a bitch. Don't be that. Like, I remember these things because they knew before we knew that we were different. And they were more so trying to, for lack of a better word, beat it out of us, wrestle it out of us, change us, and we get caught. So many queer people, we come at the world with these scars. And yeah, they're scars. And I'm setting this up because your business, I have been following you. I see your wonderful ads and I know they're not cheap. I see them ads fly up on Instagram and I always want to send them to like 50 people, but they don't allow you to add them to your story, like I want to show everybody, like it's just, I'm so proud of you because of what you do. And because of what you do, you give queer men and women confidence in ways that is just so crazy. Like I remember when I started healthy building my body and I remember what I saw in the mirror and it made me so happy that still having a model's build, I hated to wear clothes. When I first started on social media, they were like, why does he always have his shirt off? Because when I put my shirt on, I look skinny and I needed y'all to see that this was cut up. Like I needed you to see the work that I put in. So I always in my house, I only wore underwear and socks. Like that was it. Like that was it. And I can't wait because even when I get this body back together, because it's coming now. I'm looking for a gym because the one closed. But I'm literally pulling, like I'm ordering all new underwear. I got all these Looney Tunes socks. I got Hey Arnold socks that I bought. That's awesome. It. That's all I'm wearing because awesome. Like it's just, but our community, the men in our community, we are always subliminally and by force told we are not enough. So that's why to have you sitting here, it got deeper than I thought it would, but it's because I'm watching you save lives. What you're doing is saving lives. And the last advertisement of yours I saw, you were saying, I just saw it at 3 a.m. It was like before I laid down and I was like, I'm so proud of him. It's more than just this. It's more because you were like, listen, we can help you get that 6-pack before summer season or you don't pay. And I was like, they know the science. He's got the science. I'm like, he knows exactly what to do. He's like, we can help you. If we don't help you, you don't pay. And I'm like, that's when you stand on your product. That's when you know your product works. That's when it's been field tested. You got so many people. And I saw you say, before you even told me privately, you're like, we got over 300 clients. It's growing. It's growing. And I was just so proud. So now, please tell everyone. Because
so you touched on some interesting stuff.
Please comment about them and then tell everybody what you do.
Most definitely. As far as the religion and stuff like that. So we was raised Pentecostal on my
Yeah,
side.
that's what we were.
Look, we and my mom was in the church, man. If she ever gets to tell her side of the story, like in the church, like we was there basically like every day to include Saturday. Like there it was like basically every day, but I think like it might have been every day but Monday. I mean, like the point is, and very interesting progression. Started watching gay and straight porn from the time I was watching porn.
Yeah.
Because of the beliefs that I was taught, basically almost like just moved it to a corner of my mind, like just refused to believe it almost. Like, yeah, nah, we just like we gonna keep this to just a me thing. Just not gonna talk about that. Like, because I carried myself a certain way. Like, yeah, nah. But later on in life, it definitely came to a point to where I kind of had to like, okay, cool. So actually, I think that I'm more fortunate than most. By the time I actually was chose to place myself in a position to where I felt the need to come out, because at first it was my business is my business and I was gonna run that play forever. However, when I started to build the page, I was like, I don't like I had gotten past the part of my life where I was cool with compartmentalizing, and I was like, if I'm gonna do this, that means which if I'm gonna do this, that means I'm gonna have to be me.
Yeah.
And to be me, that means that I'm going to have to basically tell my parents because they were the last to find out anyway. And well, so my parents and my brother. And so I told them, but I was already at a spot in my life to where I was kind of like, if I lose you, I lose you.
Mm.
Um, and I think that actually made the conversation go easier because they felt the energy of like, hey, like I suck dick sometimes, like,
Yeah.
and are you cool with this? If not, like, totally respect it. But like, this is just I have a whole husband, like, or a whole boyfriend right now, like, just letting you
Yeah.
know. And so, and I think that that confidence, if you will, came from a series of decisions that I actually can trace the line. But it's like the one before that was choosing to leave my daughter, which we've already spoken about, and the one that preceded that uh, was building my body. And I
Mm.
can tell you, being proud of, I noticed how I changed towards the world just by being proud of me. It was the weirdest thing. By me being proud of me, and no, it made it to where I didn't deflect as much. Like I wasn't as just being unnecessarily like tearing people down or like just joking because I'm just joking always, right? Like, but you can cut some wounds with some of these jokes, plant some seeds of doubt. And so I just and it was interesting that how I operated in the world and how the world treated me changed just by changing the external and let me say being willing to put in the work to change the body, right? Um, there were a couple steps before that, but yeah, those were the two steps that preceded coming out, if you will, for me to where coming out for me. Actually, I was telling somebody who's having challenges with this right now. I was like, I wish I could connect and I understand where you're at. And I can say that that actually for me wasn't the hardest thing that I've done in my life. It
Mm.
wasn't. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting that religion has played a role in both of our early years. As far as so, with that being stated, I got to come out to the world in San Francisco, which is a wonderful place to be doing that. And at first, I loved it. So I was bartending and doing all this other stuff, but I started to notice that I was like, man, some of these people just aren't happy. Like,
Mm.
genuinely just aren't happy. This was my first time immersing myself and being around like just just the community, our people, like all the time. And I'm like, yeah, some of these people are cool, but like a lot of these people are just like salty for no reason. And I started to realize that I was like, there actually is a genuine need to where it's like, man, like some of these people actually genuinely don't know how to change their body. I realized that not everybody had come from if your objective wasn't to be authentic in the beginning of the game, which mine wasn't. Mine was to win at the game that was placed before me. And so I presented straight. And so I'm sitting here. I had people like when I wrestled, like I had people teach me how to strength train. Like I went into the military, like, and I wanted to present a certain way in there too. So it's like I had people teach me this stuff, and I'm like, I don't think everybody's had this experience. Like some people genuinely don't know what to do, and that's why they go to the treadmills. It's also, ironically enough, way more comfortable when you are like intimidated by a whole section of the gym and everybody's bigger or looks different than you, right? Or you feel that they're going to make you feel a certain way. And so, and I just, again, because fitness changed my life in such a way, I was like, man, like, this is something that I can actually believe in. I
Mhm.
want to help. And if I'm going to do it for the long haul, and I keep saying that because T2T fitness is actually a stepping stone. And I've actually put it on my page, but like, not everybody looks at the highlights. T2T fitness is a 5 to 10 year play for me so that I can actually basically pivot this into I need to show the world social proof that I know how to build an 8 figure company.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
As a queer person, I can start from zero, build it to 8 figures. And then I can roll that into a platform to help queer business owners.
Yeah.
That's my whole game is I want, because right now I get to show basically like 80% of me, which is again, on the page, queer life, thirst traps, fitness, and entertainment. Like the only thing that I don't really get to talk about as much as I actually wish I could is business because it's just not really a spot for it there. And I cannot wait to be able to help entrepreneurs like me and invest in their businesses and their causes and actually really help queer entrepreneurs in a way that I feel like there are other avenues um, for other people because some people do get weird or feel a certain type of way because, as you're saying, you're different over something as stupid as what you like to do in the bedroom. Like it's crazy to me. And so about 15 months ago, started building the company, the fitness company, T2T Fitness, and now, yes, it's looking like this month we actually will cross the $1 million mark. And the first objective is 100K months, which actually is looking like we'll actually do the following month. And the money is solely just a measuring stick, so I can know that I'm oriented in the right direction towards the big goal of, okay, cool. Along the path, I never want to forget that again, the big the big vision is again, if I can help, I really do believe that like owning a business or entrepreneurship, man, can change people's lives.
Mhm.
Because I honestly feel that the game that was put in front of me, I feel that I would have been miserable, average, frustrated,
Mhm.
and because that's what the game that they tried to teach me to play. And so it's like I don't, but man, like entrepreneur basically was another thing that I think is like integral to, if you will, saving my life outside of fitness. And so it's just like, man, like to be able to empower, help assist other people on their journey, if that's what they want to do, it's going to be awesome. And so I'm just using the talents, skills, strengths, abilities that I have right now to build this first endeavor so that's the big play though, which is probably going to take somewhere around like we'll say like between 10 and 15 years.
You know what's so crazy though? You're hitting it on the head because I went from being having a concave chest, like,
Bird
people,
chest in the South.
yeah, that's what they call it. They called it the bird chest. I went from that. And the craziest thing was, as I look back at it, I've been doing it. See, I ran track and field in high school.
Mhm.
And so we weightlifted, we trained. And then I got to college. And the thing was, after track and field, I did not continue at university. I was sick and tired of running. They kept telling me, you have a gift, you have a gift, you have a stride, you have a stride. I'm like, yeah, but this stride could do better walking down a runway. Like, damn it. Like
For sure.
had me running like the 400, the 800, the 4x4, the 4x8, and I was always last leg. And
Mm.
I mean, I ran in the Penn relays every year, and it was so crazy because I knew I was destined for greatness, because when I hit the track, and it almost makes me tear up, because at University of Pennsylvania, when I hit the track to run, I got the baton, and I would just, there has always, my coach used to always say it. He used to say, Bjorn, you have a grace about you. And
Mm.
I would hear the reaction to the grace in the crowd as I ran. And they would be like, oh, his stride. And I'm like, it used to like, and I was the type of person where it's, an 800, an open 800's 2 laps. I could run that first lap, run that second lap, and where you're supposed to get tired and coast home, I could run that like a full 200 sprint. And the crowd would go crazy because I did it every time.
Yeah.
But back then, they didn't know what I was running from. You know, they didn't know what I was running from.
Everybody's got fuel.
You know, I was running from me. I was running from me. And I say this to say that I got to college and, you know, I'm a very spiritual person. I got a lot of spiritual gifts. I can see, foresight, oracle, shaman, healer. I can do a lot. I know a lot. It's crazy how spiritual. And it's so funny because I say, I left the church. I never left God. Never needed to. God told me I was gay in Paris at 22 and I had a nervous breakdown. I had to go in the hospital. Mhm.
Crazy.
He woke me in the morning and said, go to the park. I need to talk to you. And when you think about it, he knew the reaction I was going to have, which meant I could not be in my friend's apartment with all these people being home screaming at 6 o'clock in the morning. So he told me, get up and go. That's how I knew he was real to me. Go to the park. So I go to the park. They out there in the morning. The French are running and laying out before the sun comes up. And God says, sit right here. I sit right there. He goes, you know, you're gay, right? Said it just like that. And people say, well, what does the voice of God sound like? Yours. Yours. And I go, I know. And when I said, I know, hysterical. I lost it. From that point, Paris was over for me. Paris was over. I spent a month in their hospital, psychiatric ward. It was over. Literally. It wasn't just because I didn't have the money to fund my career, because that was a problem. And, you know, people are like, oh, well, if you stick with it, but no, not the things they wanted me to do. But anyway, I say that to say this. In college, I started to work out seriously. And I'll never forget the boys, the football team took a particular interest into me. I loved football players from the first day I got to college and they walked into the cafeteria. I said, I'm in trouble. And this was before I had accepted that I was gay. I said, I'm in trouble. I knew. So, and I'll never forget there were a couple of them that kind of locked eyes with me and I locked eyes with them and it was like, oh, I'm in trouble. So now, mind you, managed to leave school never having had sex with anyone at school. I wasn't ready. I needed the knowledge of it, but I denied it again, pushed it away. I was going back home. So I had to put that away and go to church and do all that shit again. That's a story for another time. But anyway, at college, I started to weightlift. The only thing I didn't do was bench press because I was scared of it. Like a lot of gay boys.
For sure.
Scared of it.
For sure.
So I did, but I had these amazing arms and legs and abs, and I'll never forget looking up because, like I said, anything I put my mind to, I have this ability to zero into target and get it. I get it. So I'm working out and I did this every day, different things every day. And this was the thing about me. Nobody taught me. I built my regiment myself. I knew what to do in the gym just from trying things. And then after I built this body, because I used to wear like these cut off black shirts that were real tight. And I had a little bit of a chest, but I look up and all of the football players, because our rec center was glass. The track was upstairs. All of them would be upstairs watching me. And I used to be like, oh my God, like they used to watch me. Besides calling my room every night, breathing into the phone. It was crazy. They did crazy shit. They liked me. I didn't realize that men liked me like that. And they still do. And I've cocooned myself off because I'm just like, but anyway, I digress. I digress. But there, seeing the reaction, I took a weightlifting course. That's where cool. I got the knowledge behind weightlifting. I added it to my regimen. And then once I did that, bench press, you know? And then like, oh my God, I have pictures. I'll send you some like of what I built. And my thing is, now I managed to build it, mental illness, have to go in the hospital, lose it, come home, no gym access, no rec center, lose it, start working out at home, build it to where it's thin enough, tight enough to go to Paris to model, but still no gym membership, but I'm doing everything on my own. So, and I knew how. Body weight. But then towards after Paris, it was after Paris. Paris was over for me in 2006. And then I spent 2006 to the beginning of 2007, sleeping on a couch in my girlfriend's house because I was homeless. Because when I came out, because that happened in Paris, when I came out, my family threw me out on the street. Knowing that my mental health was in jeopardy, they still threw me out, didn't care. Lots of pain, but that's all right. So turn around, and I started working out. Like because I got my own place after that. My brother came, me and my brother, we kind of linked up together. We got our own place, first apartment together, and I hit a real gym. So I was building, 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 building. Manic episode, tear down, lose it again. So then, and it was crazy. That episode happened at Cabrini Hospital Medical Center in New York. Don't ask me how I got to New York. A long story. Long fucking story. Too long for us to be talking about right now. But I ended up in Cabrini Medical Center. So anyway, came back out, start my life again. I got sick and tired of stopping and starting. But what I realized was I was retaining knowledge. So in 2007, 2007, I'm walking down the street and there's this PhD holder, Black guy named Dr. Green. And Dr. Green here in my city of Philadelphia, he's well known to the boys. He's well known to us. He can help you become a model or he can help you become a porn star. Either one, it's up to you. And I was not going to be a porn star, though with that body I had, I screwed 85 men that summer, not year, that summer, 3 months. So about 1 or 2 a day. I did. But he linked me up with a free membership because one of the guys was a personal trainer at one of the gyms here. So I could go to the gym every day. So, and I remember this. It was always stopping and starting, and people always underestimated my knowledge because I come in skinny like a bird. And so the guys would be in there, and it was always Black guys talking shit, making fun. I had headphones. Thank God for headphones. Couldn't hear shit. I'm in the zone. So I would run around that gym for 6 months, 8 months, and then boom, I got this body. And people are like, and then my YouTube career happens. And what I noticed is what you said. And I said all of that just to give people some background. But I said all of that to say what you said. The world opened up to me and started treating me differently simply because of my body. Simply because I was physically fit. My voice, the sound of my voice that I had been bullied for all my life, no longer mattered. They literally were willing to overlook it based on my body. And I had a pretty face. As a guy, I'm a pretty guy, so they like literally. And I had this thing. I would meet people on like Adam for Adam, because that was a big thing here in Philadelphia. I didn't really meet people off of Black Gay Chat. I just didn't really do that. I did Adam for Adam because you got a plethora. I'm a type of person where I support my Black men, but I like men. Men, colors, creeds. Take me to Dubai. The Arabs. I really love the Arabs in Paris, but my friend told me no, they crazy here. Don't mess with them. So I'm like, all right. Yeah, he told me in Paris, they were really homophobic. So they sleep with you and then try to kill you. So I was like, nah, I don't want that. So yeah, it was crazy. Interesting, very. So I noticed that YouTube, everybody, and you would hear every now and then I would have a couple of comments. Why does he never wear a shirt? But for me, it was 2 reasons. A, because I got this amazing body. B, that you know that I'm a boy when I sing, because if I am clothed, you will swear I'm a girl. That was why I did it. Like, I was smart. So I built this whole, how I got started. That's how all of this is. It started on YouTube in 2007, 2008. And I built that platform, and it was just, and get it, manic episode, lost it all. Like, I kept having it happen. I haven't been hospitalized in 19 years now. So I'm okay now. But thank you. And it's just like, but the world treats you differently based on how you look. And being a member of the queer community and falling under many sections, you gotta look, as long as, because my thing is, I understand I'm a rebel. I'm a black sheep. Like, that's fine. I'll be that. That's fine. I can wear it. I haven't I've been celibate for 12 years, but anyway, I digress. But when I get back, and that's another thing, I won't have sex while I have my business building body. I won't do it. And there are men that are like, you're like my nephew, he's like, you are not fat at all. You don't eat, you're thin. But I'm like, nah, I got to get my stamina back up. Like there's so much that I have to rebuild. So it's been 12 years because that's how long it has taken me to build this business. Really. So I will not. When I step back into sexual, like I told somebody, I was like, though they better not ask me to do no modeling work because I need a year. I need a year. And I can do it in 6 to 7 months, but I don't want to rush myself because none of the bodies I had did I rush. I didn't rush. I built them at my own speed, at my own pace, and added things. Like my favorite thing to do after working out, and you talk about heavy. I lifted heavy weights because I had a guy who was a football player. He was like, listen, you'll get all cut up if you lift heavier. And he was like, lift heavier for less reps with less recovery time in between. So I was like, really? So I started doing 8, then I got down to 6. So I'm ripping the fuck out of my muscles. And I loved it though, because that shit, like you could pour water on that thing. And that water would just trickle into every single freaking crevice. Like it was so beautiful. And people treated me differently. And what's so crazy is then you get busy building your empire. And I'm so glad your business is fitness because you get to stay beautiful. You get to be like, how to say hire models. You don't have to. You are the spokesmodel. Like I asked you to come here like this today because my God, like you're the spokesmodel.
It is a choice though.
Though.
You have to work. Like, because I'm letting you know it'd be
Yeah.
easy to let it slide if I wanted to.
But you know what? That's also it. But I'm rounding it out to say that you have so many young men who it's not the weightlifting. It's the other men. It's the masculine men in the space. It's the being afraid to be bullied. I was 30 years old and men were still bullying me in the gym. My aunt picked up a weight and she's a lesbian. She picked up a weight and was like, I will bash all of you motherfuckers upside your head. Leave them alone. And I'm like, that, and then that's when she was like, put these on. And I've lived my whole life like that. My whole life. It's always been an opposition from the masculine man. But yet and still, I focus, I get what I need done, and then I reach back to help them. A lot of the men that I show on my page are very masculine presenting. But I also love when my femboys pick up a weight. It changes their lives too.
Oh, for sure.
It changes their lives. They're treated so much differently.
Well, not only just from being treated different, but I mean, like, from even if you are a feminine person and you don't want to engage in combat, it does help to present bigger, even if you don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
Which, fortunately enough, I mean, like, if I would recommend that, but it's like if you don't know how to fight, the perception that just because you're bigger, if you do hit me one good time, and not to mention, and also too, totally big. We already talked about this, but big shout out to the 12 years of not hooking up, because I'm gonna let you know, me and Lewis just came from a bathhouse this weekend, and so, like for me, that's just not the.
At least
Yeah,
you're having fun.
No, for sure. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it's muscle bottoms are great if you are feminine, and open, like that's how you choose to present yourself. Like that's great, but still, I don't see any cons to having muscle. Not to mention, the older you get, the more valuable it is for your health.
Yeah, you know what? I had that happen. I had a group of 8 guys that saw me from YouTube back in the day, and they approached me. Gay guys, they approached me like, "Oh, because I'm classy. I've always been classy. I could say I fucked 85 men in one summer, and nobody will blink an eye because then I say, oh yeah, but I've been celibate for 12 years. But then I can turn around in the same breath and say, but yeah, I'm going to pay escorts. Like I can be who I want to be. Like, and I know, I know this, but it was a deterrent. They popped out the car. And then they realized when they got up on me, like, oh, bitch, like, not the one to fuck.
Nobody wants to be the one who's gonna get it. Nobody wants to be that one because at least one
Right?
go.
No, them arms and like and it was crazy. It was crazy. Like I love my body, and fashion was my incentive. It was like, you got to be like one of my favorite fashion models right now, supermodel Alton Mason.
Yeah.
His body is nuts. Like, it is nuts. He's so, like, I couldn't meet him. Like, he was on my page recently. I posted him, and he just kind of did the heart thing and let me know that, you know, he appreciated being posted. And I could never meet that man because I would cry. That man is so beautiful. But
Pretty.
what I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying is to say, what I'm saying is, you don't have to, the femboys, you don't have to become some huge muscle god. Like, but get this. This is where you come in. They lack knowledge because they don't even know. Like, this is the thing. And I'm gonna ask you this: when you get clients, can you substantiate that most of them don't even know the type of body they have? They don't even know what they're working with. They don't know if they're mesomorphic. I want to know if that.
Yeah. Most people who come in the program, this is what I've realized is they don't clearly know what they want. And that's the God honest truth. Um, and that's one thing that has actually been very interesting to me is people don't have much clarity on if you ask somebody exactly how they want to look. It's very seldom that they're like, I want to look exactly like this person. But if they do, then that's helpful because I can actually build something to exactly orient you to that. Most people, they don't have clarity on what they want, but they do know very clearly what they're running from, the experience, the feeling, what just happened in their life, the missed opportunity. And so for me, it's more or less unpacking genuinely what is the actual pain that we're actually solving. Because yes, you're gonna end up, trust me, we're gonna teach you a bunch of stuff. You're gonna end up learning how to work out the basics of eating and all the other stuff, right? We're gonna give you some support so you can actually, again, not fall off this time. But what's the actual problem that we're actually looking to solve? And you're just using your body as the catalyst to do that. Like, because that's the most interesting thing that I found of actually having the opportunity to serve the community is like, it's very seldom running to, and if they are, even if they do have clarity on where they're going to, it's more clarity on what they're running from.
Yeah. You know what it is though? As I said, as you were speaking, I was like, you know, my psychiatrist, why I started working out in the first place. It makes you feel better. It is therapy. It's therapy. And anyone who has any kind of mental health, anything, and most of the gay community does. We have some ism or schism with us because of the abuse and post-traumatic stress of it all, that we need something that's going to benefit us, that is going to be a habit or a good vice. You know, the gym is a perfect substitute. Like, literally, you go in there, you beat yourself up, you know, sweaty and this and that. You listen to
I don't
crazy.
know that though. What you're saying is so true,
Mm.
but initially people don't know that. Most people when they're getting started, most of the time, it's I want to increase the number of people I can hook up with or mating opportunities. Um, I want to change my body because if I were to change my body, uh, then I would feel, and it's some magic, like they think like once I change it, which a lot of the times unintentionally they do. um, and there's one more, but like it's usually that or it's this weird thing that they've never completed anything that they've started in their life, and somehow they just realize that, man, like if I can actually do this time, then I could probably do. And oftentimes that's usually connected to some plan. Like, but I need to have something. I'm realizing that I'm basically somewhere between 25 and usually 40, and I've not completed anything that I've started, and I need to actually do this. Like I've been saying I was going to do this forever. I always fall off. There's always something that comes up, and it's always a genuine problem, or it's always a genuine challenge. But this is the time that they want to actually like do it. And so it's very interesting to like because just how my brain works. It's like you listen to a few hundred people, which we have no joke. We have we'll say at least 600 people a week, like actually like so it's just like you get enough of those, you start to realize it's like actually very common motivations, and I genuinely am like, I love what I get to do. I
Yeah,
do.
you can
I love
tell.
what I get.
You can tell and get it. It's the best work you could ever do because it helped you. And we always, the best thing to do is, most people don't even know this. They ask, well, I don't know my purpose in life. Well, what have you overcome?
Mhm.
Whatever you overcome, start there. Teach people that. They don't get that. They don't know that. So many people are like, oh, I need to find my purpose. So I need to find this. So I need to find that. Or like you said, they're running from something and then they don't want to look back at their pain. Therapy has taught me to use my pain. It's in all my music. It's in everything, like it's in everything I do because I'm telling you, yeah, I wrote this song and yeah, this is what it felt like. But baby, I'm up. I'm living, even with 12 years of celibacy. And let's clarify that for
You
the
have to
people.
define what
Yeah, here we
celibacy
go.
means to
I have to
you.
go.
There we
I have to
go.
define because we was having a conversation the other
I
night and
wasn't gonna dig.
what
I
I was
wasn't gonna
doing.
dig into it. We were just
No,
gonna
why?
fight
Why
it
were
out.
you going to? No, listen. So yeah, 12 years of celibacy with other people. Let's say it
Okay.
like that. Because I am an avid porn watcher. I love porn, which is why I
Yeah.
tend to, and you know what it is? I vary. I like some straight porn, I do, but I
Yeah.
tend to stay in my community. Like I tend to
Yeah. Yeah.
stay.
For sure.
But yeah, because when when I called you the other night, I missed your call, and I was like, "What's you were like,
Yeah,
what
we
are you
had.
doing?"
I
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
I was like, "No, I have to tell you what I was doing." I'm like, I had
Right.
3 phones, and I had to move all my porn out of my work phone so
Yeah.
that I had more space. Like that's what I was doing. But yeah,
Yep.
so like literally, yeah, like that's what it is. Like most of us, we don't we don't realize how fitness can change our lives, but like and I've seen it. Like I've been that person. Like people look at me like people I knew like for real knew. And I'm like they walk by and they don't even look me in my face. They're looking at my body like
Mhm.
I've had and get it me, my one friend who's a fashion icon. I can't say his name. He's a fashion, but he always tells me, he says, Bjorn, you attract all men, not just gay men. And I find that when I was younger, not knowing how to use that power, it was very detrimental to me because I didn't want attraction. I didn't want to attract all men. I wanted a specific type of man. And it just so happened that I wanted him to be gay. But my first phrase in the business, because everything's a business. So my first phrase in the business of sexual hooking up with, they were straight. They were straight.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So, or and I'm not one of those people that believes all men are gay. Like, I'm not one of those people.
For sure.
I
Well,
just, I was going to say, I do believe. Before you say that, I do believe that there's something special about me.
so I'm not denying that or like
I'm
I'm
not
just
denying
like
that, but we're gonna get
I
into the
think
science of this thing.
I think that everybody is on they are where they are on whatever spectrum that they feel, and that's great for them. Like whether they see it as black and white, like that's great for them. I don't care. I personally will say there was a long time that I believed I was straight, and again, will tell you started off watching gay and straight porn
Yeah.
straight, right? And so I don't you let people on the go on their journey. But one thing that I do think is important enough to say is I think it's Doctor. He's got some weird long last name that starts with a D, but
Okay.
it's like he posts some really good stuff. And one of the things, and I've already shared this with you, as someone who's been diagnosed as bipolar 2 manic depression, right? Like with that, like been diagnosed with it. Um, I will say one of the things that he posted on his page that made a lot of sense to me was he's like, depression is real. And if you're not getting enough sunlight, eating properly, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, basically doing the basics that the human body needs, and you're having these manic episodes, like, yes, you should expect your body to kind of freak out. Like, also, too, one thing that I would kind of add in is I would say is if you're also doing things that genuinely you don't even believe in, that you don't like you feel is out of alignment with what you believe. And it has to be what you believe, not what someone else has told you you should believe. But it's like, I think that would be one that would add to that. But basically, if you're not meeting the basics of your like physical and you're completely shunning your insides, which I think it's interesting you mentioned that basically like the voice of God told you that you were gay.
Mhm.
One common thread that I found from a bunch of just stuff that I've read and like listened to is most people who are successful, they will give it different claims, but all of them feels to some degree internally led by something. Some people say it's intuition, some people it's whatever. I personally feel that everybody has a voice. There's a voice, and unfortunately for most people, they don't realize it, but life will try to beat that shit out of you between 25 and 35.
Mm,
Either one or two things will happen.
mm,
Is you'll either stop listening to it and it'll go away forever. I
mm.
don't know if you can bring it back. I'm sure maybe you can, but it's like it's a voice of that is meant to direct you down your path. I feel that everybody has, and the problem is you just stop listening to it. So it just okay, he ain't gonna listen to me anyway. At least for me. And I only say that just because I went through a clip of my life where actually it was I would hear what I felt like I was supposed to be doing, ignore it. And that was such a miserable clip of my life. And I was getting results that I was like, why does it seem like bad stuff keep happening? Like, and bad stuff will always happen, right? Like, I want to be like, it's all like rainbows and stuff once you do trust your path. In fact, actually, for me, it happened to lead me down a harder path that I am grateful for. But I'm like, that was just misery unnecessarily. And I think that more people should listen to whatever is guiding them, whomever is guiding them for the universe, God, like whatever you believe in.
Well, I have something very special to share. You can get it back.
Oh, good.
You,
I don't know.
yeah, you
That's good to
can.
know.
Take it from someone whom, after their first manic episode and hospital stay over a month, being 302, because that's what it was, involuntary, to the hospital, remanded there for 30 days. I looked myself in the mirror and I was 18, 18 and a half. Yeah, I was 18. I looked myself in the mirror and I said, you let me down and I will never trust you again.
Oh, that's deep.
Angry,
The second part is deep.
inner, conscious. Let me tell you something. I literally felt something like a switch shut off. And the years that followed were the hardest years of my life. It wasn't until 19 years ago I go to therapy and they're like, we have to help you get back to your self-actualization because most people don't reach self-actualization while they're living, meaning to love, accept, and portray themselves as they actually are. Everybody wants to hide behind masks, hide behind image, hide behind everything to the point where they don't really know themselves as they really are. Well, the great thing about the gay community is because, especially Black gay community, is we're shunned by our religious counterparts so much so in our families that when we are ousted, all we have is ourselves. So a lot of gay men actually reach self-actualization quicker than anyone else can. My psychiatrist told me, because we are left with only ourselves. We have no support system, no family, nothing else in Maslow's hierarchy of needs do we have. So literally we shoot from the bottom straight to self-actualization because it's like, I got to get to know me because I got to live. So when I started therapy, I went back to the mirror. And my thing is I have to be very careful because mirrors are a gateway for me and spirit to the spirit world. So I have to be careful what I say in a mirror. So I went back to the mirror and I had to apologize to myself. And I said I was young, I was hurt, I was embarrassed. That was the biggest word. I was embarrassed. Like I was well known in school. I was embarrassed. And in church, I was embarrassed by what happened to me. I couldn't live it down. It was so bad. And I never thought to kill myself, but I thought, well, I could disappear and become someone else. Like it was really bad. But I went back to that mirror and I basically had to make up with myself and say, I'm so sorry and I need you. People don't do that. I had to do that because of where I was destined to go. I had to say, I need you so bad. I'm so sorry. I was young. I was hurt. All these people saw, and I had to deal with that. And I didn't have that language before therapy. I didn't have that language to express my hurt the way I needed to myself, the language to speak to myself. And I said, please, if you will rejoin me, I will never do that again. I will always be there. I will value you, because in my arrogance, I devalued myself and I lost that part of me. And in the mirror, it was like a glow. I literally saw it, and the switch, it was like a light switch, just went right back on. And
That's cool.
literally, I felt it, James. I was looking around and I'm like, I'm whole. Like, that's exactly what I said. I'm whole. And since then, we see what happens with me. I get in front of that camera and I'm talking about things, and people are like, how do you know? And you're always on time. And I'm like, baby, it's not me. It's
That's
not
cool.
me. I am tapped into an infinite source, because I used to be scared when I first started. I was going to run out of things to say. And that voice inside of me said, you are tapped into an infinite source. You are the extension of an infinite source, which means you have an infinite way to talk about every subject known to man. And I've never been afraid to run out of what to say. I just hit that camera and and I did
And
videos before this, and but being connected, like you said, as an entrepreneur, all the successful ones, we have to be driven by something. And that something really does have to come from within. You can't do it outside of yourself, because people don't understand your outward appearance, your outward environment, or like I said today in my video that's going to come out later, your habitat is the last thing to change. Being a scientist myself, when I went to a specialized school in high school, biology the whole way through, and then getting accepted to 4 universities for biology, I learned that in order for change to happen, change happens first at the cellular level. You can't see that, but your body makes a biological adaptation to whatever's going on. So before you ever see riches and this and the husband you want and the wife you want and the career you want and the accolades and the family and your daughters and your son, that shit has to be in here, because your body is preparing you to do everything that your mind just said it wanted to do. And that's what a lot of people miss. And unfortunately, a lot of us gays, we've turned off that voice. Because without therapy, when we listen to that voice, it's the voice of our mother. It's the voice of our father telling us we ain't shit for being gay, for sucking dick, for liking it. Like literally. Do you know, somewhere, I remember when I first started, after therapy, I can climax to a porn and not feel bad. I used to have years of, after I climaxed, it was like I wanted to run and hide. I tried to not look up at the sky like God could see me, and this, that, and the other. And I'm going to say something really controversial, but I'm going to say it. What helped me get over it is, one day I was like, God, I know you're watching me do this. Like I just said it. I was like, God, I know you're watching me do this. And the response was, oh, enjoy the body I gave you? I said, again, God, I know you're watching me do this. And I felt shame. And the voice of God that I believe is my God, of my understanding, said, oh, you mean watching you enjoy your body, the one I gave you? Somebody put a thumbs up there. I didn't do that. The iPhone, the computer, the MacBook Pro, they do crazy shit. But anyway, oh, watching you enjoy the body that I gave you. And I was like, and then he took, and get this, I don't read the Bible. I don't read the Bible. But when I did, I did. He said, baby, let me take you back to the Old Testament real quick. He said, sex is the highest form of communication you can ever have with someone and yourself. Then he said, It was so good that in the Old Testament, the sons of God, which are known as angels, came down to earth, put on flesh, so that they could be with the women on earth. Took me to the whole story of the Nephilim, giants, and said, baby, that flesh is so good, everybody wants to wear it. Everybody wants to experience all the pleasures of this body. And I stopped being, honey, I ain't got no shame. Like now, after I climax, I don't jump up and immediately clean up. I lay there. I grab my phone. I grab my phone. I scroll. Oh, I like that one. That one was good. Let me bookmark that. Better yet, let me screen record that one because that one got me there fast. Like it has become my life. Like
BJ, for me, it depends on how messy we were, but
I love you.
we
I
just
love
chilling
you.
there and not. I do got to get going,
I
but
know it's time. We've been talking. We've been talking for an hour
for
and 20
sure,
minutes.
it's
But
been good
listen,
though,
it was
and I
great
mean
to
that.
catch up. It was like, get this. I want people to see this. It's a conversation.
Yeah, it's
These are
chilling.
interviews, not interviews. So real quick, because I know you want to schedule, because so am I. Oh,
Yeah,
too. I'm like, what? I got lost in the conversation and just how beautiful you were
all
and
good.
the meaning of the mind. You're so intelligent. And that's another thing. To have the body and to have that mind, it's we know why you go in the bathhouses on the weekends. But anyway, uh, anyway, give me 3 words that inspire and empower you, and then tell everybody where they can find T2T Results, which is actually your company. Those
Yeah. So, okay, in that sequence, 3 words that inspire and empower me. Hard is okay.
okay.
And I continually have to remind myself that it's like, if I want the person that I want to be, the version of me that I want to be and respect the most, I have to be willing to encounter hard things to get there. And so for me, um, weirdest stuff. Sometimes it's like making myself go to the gym when I don't want to. Sometimes it's not responding to some of the interesting comments that you get when you run an Instagram, company on Instagram. Sometimes it's, dealing with numbers in the business, and sometimes it's, late nights. Sometimes it's, but when I start to, and I can, because I choose to control my environment, I can stay consistent at things for a long time. However, there are times where I will do things like the bathhouse to break routine. But all that to say is I have to remind myself it's like the path to who I want to be, I have to be willing to embrace. It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
Like it's if I wanted it's the only other option is for me to settle with a lesser version of myself to where it's like I can point the finger, I can join everybody else with saying it's not my fault or doing something else, and that's great. But it's like if it's not my fault, then it's nothing I can change about it. And so it's better to just be like, okay, if something goes wrong, it's my fault. If I'm being challenged right now, it's supposed to be hard, like so that I can actually make adjustments to improve in the future. That's really it.
It's a
And
part of
that I know it's weird, but that little bit, that's how I keep me moving. Is it's supposed to be hard.
it. Is. If it
And
was easy, everyone
how
would do it.
oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And that's a yeah. How to find me right now? I'm still one channel, and so Instagram, T2T results. So it's well, actually, I have a website now, which that was not
Yeah,
actually
that's what I was
that
waiting
was
for. I'm
not in
like,
existence the first time. But you can Instagram me at T2T results, and then also too, we do have a website, which is the link in bio for
yeah,
sure.
I
Cool.
love you.
Thank you for the time, BJ. Genuinely.
I love you so much, James, because you are
I look
just
forward to staying in touch. We're gonna do another one of these at some
yeah,
point.
listen, we always do, but it was great. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard a very beautiful conversation with a very beautiful man, Mr. James Patrick of T2.
Beautiful chocolate man. No, sorry,
Oh,
why- I think of that
yeah.
every time.
No, yeah, yeah. Of
Okay.
T2 results. I love you. And oh God, we'll do this again another time, but say
Definitely.
goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you want to support, you know where to find me. You know all my socials. I love each and every one of you, and thank you for watching. See you next time. Mwah.
The Queen of Shades music is now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and all other streaming platforms. Experience the enchanting tone of the Queen of Shade as she serenades your soul. With her beautiful voice and over 30 years of vocal experience, music link in bio.
Do they know you like to handle this? I say, mister, why punish your son? 'Cause his daddy likes my kind of fun. And at night you always call my phone. You're always asking if I'm all alone. And when I tell you that I need your love, you come running just to feel me up. Turn that TV down, 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 turn that TV down.